Yeah, it is another episode of the Autumn Windbags. RJ Clifford, Juan Soto. Let's have some fun today. 2 weeks away from the draft. It's sneaking up on us. There really is no such thing as an NFL offseason. We talk about this all the time. It doesn't exist. There's no offseason.
Nope.
It's football season without games. Right?
Pretty much. It's always something.
It's just football season without
There's
games.
always something important happening.
Like the Super Bowl was what, less than 2 months ago? And the Raiders have already reported for off-season workouts today. We're recording this Tuesday night. They've already reported. And then we've already traded for a quarterback. The combine was just a little bit ago. The draft's in 2 weeks. Then the open workouts start happening, the mandatory mini camps. Then you get into before you know it's preseason. I'm excited.
Yeah, man. This is it's a lot happening for sure. And there just seems to be always a lot happening. Depending on what team you're invested in, there's maybe a little bit more than others, but
shockingly quiet offseason by Raider standards. Even with we have a whole new head coach, a new GM, and a new quarterback, and it still feels quieter than a normal Raiders offseason because there's nothing wacky or wild or explosive. It's just I
think you hit it there. I wouldn't say that it's just not as dysfunctional as it normally is.
It's just sound moves as opposed to big, wild, explosive moves. You know, we're driving a Cadillac instead of trying to take a Porsche through a rocky terrain. You know what I mean? Just bugs in our teeth. Sure. You know, instead of having the goggles and the scarf on a convertible going through the desert, we're just driving a
sensible
Cadillac.
Crossover.
Yeah. We're on PCH on a summer afternoon, just kind of driving, just getting to where we want to go, nice and easy. You know, we're not picking bugs out of our teeth. It's wild. I am shocked about how jacked I was. Getting in at 5:40 in the morning. How about JPJ and Chip Kelly looking like they're the same guy? They look related. Seriously. Look at this. That's uncanny. There's 40 years difference.
Same dude.
Jackson Powers Johnson looks like a 50-year-old man. How can you look like Baby Huey and still look that old?
It's definitely an art.
Dude, walking in there all jacked and pumped. How far am I getting dropped off by his mom? Obviously not his mom. Check. But he's on his first day of school.
Oh, they got the new Forerunner.
Cole. Carlson or AJ? All smiles.
No, that's AJ.
Look at these guys. It's beautiful weather. And then Pete Carroll looking he looks like an old man, but an old man on his first day of school. You know what I mean?
Like a guy that lost his job after a lot of years and he has to go back to school.
Right? He's got to go back to junior college to learn Excel so he can get hired somewhere. I was so
learn HTML.
Chat GPT took his job, so he's got to learn something else.
What were you? I was a researcher. Oh, bummer.
They've been telling me to code for 20 years, and now AI does it. Damn it. The weather's so nice in Vegas. Sun's out, but not too hot. Everyone's looking comfy and cozy. And there's Pete. All smiles.
Always compete. That's good.
It's so weird how much I analyze that. Maxx not limping. No boot, no limp, no little scooter that he had, all that.
No, he was good.
Good sign.
I mean, his surgery was long enough ago.
Right. Rehab's
I want to
good.
see how Christian Wilkins is getting around.
Mm-hmm.
And Malcolm Kuntz. I want to see how they're got a
man. we're so jacked in our D line. It's like they're all coming back from major injuries. Like the whole D line is coming back from like season-ending reconstructive multiple surgeries on their lower halves. That's
you have to wonder if there was some misstep in like in like a prehab, or like it's just too coincidental to have that many players have injuries in that parts of the body. I don't know. It just seemed really weird.
There was a little divot in the tile in the D-line meeting room that they all tripped on.
It's like over and over again, just like the wear and tear of like stepping into that divot.
It's like, remember when Tony Ferguson was supposed to fight Khabib Nurmagomedov, but he tripped on a cable at the Fox Sports studios the week before the fight and blew out his ACL?
Blew his ACL out.
That's them.
They had him recording at the Ravens studio. About to pop anyway.
You mean that doing your workout, standing on one-legged on stilts with the Bosa ball, juggling chainsaws as a workout, balancing a bowling ball in your nose was going to lead to injury? Is that what you're saying?
That doesn't put a lot of stress on your ligaments.
I didn't see Geno in that clip. Did you see Geno?
Yeah, he was there.
You did? Oh, I missed him. Yeah. Okay, good. Well, we know Geno's here. We finally got the press conference. Finally, right? They were waiting for the contract to get finished. Understandably so. Got the presser. It was Pete, Geno, Spytek, all up there. All smiles. About, 18 minutes or so. Pretty quick presser. Nothing too hard-hitting, really. Just kind of like a circle jerk between three guys that are all relying on each other for their jobs and their success. So all smiles, leaning on each other. What was your biggest takeaway? Not presser.
My biggest takeaway was just you can sense the quiet confidence in Geno Smith and Pete Carroll. Like, we've done this before. We got this. Like it just came across. It came across, I think, really pretty loud and clear.
They, you can tell the comfortability's there. You can tell everything that we've kind of like knew about the Geno Pete relationship. Geno just like outright said, I'll run through a brick wall for this guy. I just needed a chance to compete and prove myself. Like Geno was just, you could tell like Carroll took him under his wing and Geno just like lopped it up. Like he set up like compete and prove and show. He said that like a version of that like 30 times, right? Which is the Pete Carroll mantra, right? I'm going to show you I'm not cocky, but I'm going to show you why I'm the guy, blah, 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 blah. All that good stuff. And yeah, I mean, you could tell like, what do we always say about drafting a quarterback? It's like, is he the guy? Is he the guy? It's like, well, that depends on 38 things. Like is the quarterback good? Does he jive with the coach? Does he jive with the OC? Does the system fit? Is the line there? Are the weapons there? If the weapons are there, are they the right weapons? And if they are the right weapons, do they jive with the quarterback? And like all these other things, it's like, we could have had Patrick Mahomes last season. Lou Getsy would have sucked. You know what I mean? That's just how it is, right? And it's just nice when you already know that's already eliminated from all the different possible variables. Does your head coach and quarterback jive? Yes, we can check that box. Nice and easy right out of the gate.
Well, you can also know that you have somebody on your side, both ways. Mm-hmm. As far as coaching wise, having the head coach on your side is great for not only your confidence, but it allows you to go out and play. You don't have to really look over your shoulder a lot because, confidence in your abilities, go out there, play, things should be fine. And the other way is if Pete Carroll lays the hammer down, he's got his guy in with the players too, to be able to kind of like, hey guys, this is the way we got to do it. No second guessing from the top.
And the more we hear about it, the more it seemed like once Pete Carroll was signed by the Raiders, Geno was just like, that's where I'm going.
He's back. Okay, let's go.
He's like, that's where I'm going. Seattle Seahawks are like, all right, here's this contract. Nope, that's insulting. I'm not taking it. I'm going to take less to be with the Raiders. Like, it clearly wasn't a money thing. It was just, like, look, guys, like, you know it. I know it. They know it. Figure it out. You know where I'm going. Like, I'm going to be with Pete, right? That's going to be a done deal.
Freaking Geno Smith looked at Coach McDonald and was like, that piece of shit, I never liked him. I never trusted him.
I feel like that's pretty true. Like, they never really jived. And I think maybe that's a little part of Geno too. Like I think diva, completely the wrong word. Difficult, wrong word. But I think Geno Smith isn't as fluid from organization to person as some other quarterbacks. Like some quarterbacks can just kind of get along with anybody. Maybe the systems don't work. Maybe that doesn't work. But, personalities are personalities. I feel like Geno can be very abrasive in the wrong situation. And Pete's just the yin to his yang.
I wouldn't say abrasive. I would say just very direct. Like, hey, man, I've been in this league a long time, and I know what works for me. And if you're not going to listen to me, well, there's not much here. If you're going to force me to do something that I know I can't, that I've been shown that not be good at, if you're going to get rid of all my weapons, like, wait a second, you got rid of my top 2 targets coming into last season. I know Jackson Smith and Jigba ended up being their top target, but he didn't come into the season as that. He kind of, because of injury and stuff like that, he ended up being the number 1 target for the entire year. But yeah, man, it's like our run game is crap. Our offensive line is crap. You got rid of 2 of my top 3 targets, or it's like you're cutting me down at the knees right now.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm sure that was a part of the conversation as well.
Yeah, and Sam Darnold seems a much more like malleable personality than Geno. And so I think that kind of like Mike McDonald, a little bit more abrasive. So you need kind of a quarterback that could kind of like, I don't know, a little more fluid with that. It's a weird situation. I feel like normally in trades, like I hate when it's like, well, both guys won. It's like, well, is that always the case? If it was so good, then did one guy not fleece the other? But this was kind of close to that. I mean, Sam Darnold, 6 years younger, cheaper, seems like a personality that will jive with McDonald better than Geno. And then Geno gets to be in, with Pete. We get a guy that's got a longer history of success than Sam, even though Sam's last year was by far better than any year of Geno's. It was just a 1-year thing. Was it just a fluke? Was it just the system? Was it just the Vikings just plug anybody in there and they can succeed?
Dude, the Vikings, they're everything that Geno Smith didn't have in Seattle, Sam Darnold had with the Vikings. He had one of the best offensive lines. He had a really good running game. He had 2 freaking receivers that are probably just as good, if not better, than whatever they had in Seattle.
Offensive-minded head coach.
An offensive-minded head coach who just, oh, man, it's just...
Dome.
It's going to be... Yeah,
in a dome.
It's going to be a real, like... It's going to be a real eye-opener, one way or the other, how Sam Darnold does this next season, because he's not going to have a lot of those safety valves and kind of like the video game extra power-ups that he had with the Vikings, for sure.
Yeah, either he got better from those 2 systems he was in, or
the Niners and Vikings.
The Niners and Vikings, or he was just like a plug and play. The system's so good, the rest of the team was so good that a Brock Purdy situation. You just kind of throw him in there and he goes. Yeah, like you mentioned, Geno was the opposite. It's like, yeah, you had 2 studs. Yeah, you had 2 stud targets, but other than that, you had very, very little to deal with.
Yeah,
so
one was hurt and the other one was kind of younger and just kind of getting his feet wet.
Mm. So Geno's contract. It's okay. The hard numbers, right? Mostly a 2-year commitment. What was the exact numbers? I'm looking at the wrong thing.
Okay, it's a 2-year, 85.5, 66.5 guaranteed.
The extension on top of the 1-year, 25 mil that was this year, right?
Yes, but what happened was his guarantees for this year changed from 31 million to 40 million. Guaranteed. Next season, he is guaranteed 18.5 million. And in the 3rd day of the league year, he gets another guaranteed 8 if he's still on the roster. Mm-hmm. So technically, it could be a 1-year, $58.5 million deal if we get rid of him, cut him, trade him after this one season. And actually, it won't even be that much, because if he goes somewhere else, he's not going to go somewhere else like and play for 18.5. He's going to get more than that. So we don't have to
Well,
take.
yeah, so that's what we're reading Florio's article on that exact situation because he's the only one talking about this. Because I've looked up because on like Sport Track and all the other cap websites, it's not up yet, right? They just haven't done it. It's just not released. Whatever.
What is
But
going on
Florio,
with your freaking ads, dude? It's okay.
Timu?
Fuck it
Timu?
all.
What's Timu? Clothes?
Stop it.
I don't know what Timu is. Clothes? I'm assuming.
Stop, dude.
Stop what? I don't know what Timu is.
Okay.
Is that what it's called?
All right.
TEMU? Did I click it?
No. Go ahead and cancel that out.
Miracle 99 hearing aid.
We
Terrifies.
gotta cut all this out. You know that.
This isn't Timu. Why? I don't know what Timu is. Is it gross? Okay, now it's Walmart. I know what Walmart is. What is it? Are you going to tell me, or we're just going to like sit in the ether?
No, Temu is like a from China. It's like a bunch of just crap that they sell. A lot of the stuff you see on Amazon actually is from Temu, but
Then why is it so weird?
No, because of the shirt and everything. It's just like a bunch of high heels. Like, what have you been searching? It's just a bunch of high heels and. Okay, never mind.
I was young and I needed the money. So Florio was saying the same shit you were, right? We're reading the same article. Smith contract carries at most a 2-year commitment, and if the Raiders are willing to roll the dice on Smith making more than $18.5 million, but elsewhere in 2026 because someone else can send him do it
For more.
They can move on after only 1 season and a total payment of $40 million, which kind of changes everything. If Geno Smith, and again, these are all ifs, ands, buts, whatever, because they did trade a third and it is a total 3-year deal, but the option, it seems, is there. 1 year, $40 million, and then you can move on. That opens up drafting a quarterback high with number 6.
Yeah.
If that was the plan all along, this Geno Smith contract doesn't dissuade from that. This Geno Smith contract doesn't point to that. It doesn't. This contract wasn't designed to be like, oh, the Raiders definitely are drafting a quarterback high, but this contract was designed where they definitely can draft a quarterback high, and it gives them the flexibility that even if they do draft Shedeur that high or whoever, and he needs more than a year to develop, they can keep Geno another year. Like if you swing and miss on whatever quarterback you pick up, Geno's still around for that 2-3 years, 2 years and 3 funny money.
Yeah.
So this contract looks pretty fucking brilliant to me, Soto, where it's
excellent.
The Raiders gave themselves all these options, and they're paying Geno below average starting quarterback money.
Yeah, so Geno gets 40 this year. Let's say, for example, just as an example, they ended up taking like a Jalen Milroe in like the 2nd round or something like that. Let's just say. And he's going to need more than a year to get up to speed, right? Even if you keep Geno for the 2nd season, it's still only $26.5 million for your starting quarterback. And with the cap going up, it's almost like you're paying even less for him because the cap's going to go up next year. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, I think what we're seeing here is I was shocked at this deal. I thought it was going to be more of a guarantee going into the 2nd year. But what's happening is we got zero clarity from this deal. Nothing. This is a no tell. The cards are freaking dealt, and there's no tell at all. So there's no clarity of what the draft strategy is at all. Everything's up for grabs at any pick.
And I mean, that's a fantastic thing. The Raiders didn't handcuff themselves in any way, shape, or form with this. They can keep him for 3 years. They can keep him for 1. They can draft a quarterback super high. They cannot draft for another 3 seasons. Like, they gave themselves all these options. If this is Spytek, if this is what we have to expect, this was like, you have so many variables, right? Tom Brady's influence.
Dude, this is Spytek.
Well, you have a lot of variables. Pete Carroll can go to put his arm around Geno and say, hey, buddy, trust me. We're not going to shaft you. We'll make it work, right? So there are extra variables.
You still have to execute the contract.
No, sure. But you have extra help, right? You got Pete Carroll in the room saying, hey, trust us.
Use
buddy.
your resources, man.
Here you go. Trust. No. Again, I'm just saying, if it were Sam Darnold, right, you wouldn't have that same thing. Would Spytek be able to do the same thing to Sam Darnold if that was the case, or Matthew Stafford, or any other quarterback
Seattle
that doesn't
pretty much did.
Right? Well, they don't have the same outs we do. They can't get out in 1 year the way that they can with this deal. So
I mean, yeah, they could, but they just have a little bit more of a cap.
Way harsher.
Yeah, it's way harsher about cap hit.
And so that's what I'm getting at is we only have what we have so far of Spytek, which is basically one big trade, one giant extension, and a good safety and a bunch of kind of whatevers, right? At this point. The Maxx Crosby one, it's like, yeah, you're gonna have to pay him. That would have been amazing if Spytek could have gotten extended Maxx for less. That would have been really goddamn hard. That would have been really impressive if he could have gotten Maxx for less than that 45 minutes when he was the highest paid non-quarterback.
Maxx is now the number 3 paid defensive lineman.
What did I say when we signed him? I think he'll be 5 by the time the season starts. He was number 1. Now he's 3. I bet you he'll be 5.
Number 2, fucking Danielle Hunter. Like, really? Okay.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. So the Maxx one, we didn't really get a gist of what Spytek's about. It was kind of like you kind of had to they made him the highest paid defensive player. That's probably what he was going to get. It didn't show him being good or bad, right? It just what it was. Malcolm Kuntz, that seemed like a lot for a 1-year prove it, $12 million, but that's the going rate for ends. Could he have gotten Kuntz for less? Maybe. Hard to say.
It's hard to say, and because I think you kind of glanced over the fact that he got probably replaced the linebacking core and a safety, because he also signed Isaiah Polamau. So I mean, let's take a look at it, because let's see what they're all getting paid, because I know for a fact Landon Roberts and Jeremy Chin are getting paid 40% next season of what Robert Spillane and Trevon Merrick are getting paid. Mm-hmm. Let's see what do you call it? Divine Diablo getting paid as opposed to Devin White, and what other safeties out there?
Well, Devin White he's a scrap heap guy. He's getting $1 million. He's getting long snapper money. Like he was, and if he pans out, great. Right, but it's not like that wasn't Spytek like wheeling and dealing. It was no one wanted Devin.
Do you really see Amari Burney starting over Devin White?
No, I think Devin White will probably start, but But that doesn't mean he's good. I mean, he hasn't been a good linebacker. If he's not blitzing, is he? I mean, he's lost in coverage, bad angles. He just hasn't been good. I know we always look at it because we took Farrell over him, right? 4 and 5. So we always kind of looked at Devin White as like what could have been. And I think Raider Nation looked at Devin White higher than he was. Like you watch his tape, like, yeah, he got a lot of tackles with Tampa Bay when everyone was covered because you're on the best front 7 in football. Like he looked good there. And again, if he this is less about will he be a good linebacker. I like the signing. $1 million for Devin White. Sure. Do it. Perfect. Like that. Great. Yeah. Like 0.3% of our salary cap for like a really good athlete. Sure. Like I'm not against the signing and I'm rooting for him to be good. I'm just saying in terms of Spytek's wheeling and dealing, I don't think this proves he's great or bad. It just proves that he's not overspending. Now, the Geno Smith contract, that shows Spytek fucking wheeling and dealing. That's Spytek in the nerdery with the lawyers working magic, right? And like you said, you have Pete Carroll, you leverage that, you make that work. It's not a knock that he probably used Pete Carroll to make the deal done. Now the question is, would he have been able to do the same thing with a Sam Darnold or Matthew Stafford? I don't know. He doesn't have the same assets to make that deal work. But so far, with the most important position in football and the best guy we've had at that position since Derek Carr, and a guy that the more you and I have looked at him, he's like, yeah, he's pretty goddamn underrated. looks odd. And then we're looking at this contract even deeper. We're like, shit, man. Fucking sorcery.
Honestly, who could we have gotten better?
Well, I think there's an argument that Sam Darnold is better than Geno Smith. The argument's there. We'll see how that pans out. 6 years younger.
I think the argument is pretty shaky considering the amount of production that you have from Geno Smith over the last 3 seasons. The fact that you have that connection between Pete Carroll and Geno Smith, I think it's a pretty shaky argument. If you're just looking at stats and you just look at last season, yeah, Sam Darnold is a better quarterback, but it's not nearly the whole picture.
No, not just the stats. I mean, but this is something we both agreed on before the Geno trade. We're like, who's the best quarterback for the system? We both said Sam Darnold. And now that we got Geno, like we're looking at it through rose-colored glasses. I'm just as guilty as anybody. But I think also the more you dig, well, we've dug into Geno more, and we're like,
seeing everything we see is like, okay.
And then we're acknowledging, no run game, terrible O-line play. And the big kicker for him was the turnovers, and specifically the red zone turnovers. And you look at those turnovers, like, he's playing hero ball because he feels like he has to, which, again, is still wrong, still not good, but certainly far more fixable than, like, some guy that just loves interceptions in the red zone for the last 10 years. That's not Geno, but it's an issue that seems very fixable. It seems more like a bug than a feature, to use the nerdery terms for everybody. So again, I'm not making the case that Sam Darnold's better than Geno Smith. I'm just saying that case can be out there. I know Vic Tafer's made that case. He's younger. You don't have to give up a third to get him. And that I think you're not like, I'll argue against it, but you're not outlandishly insane for saying, I would have rather had Sam Darnold for reasons X, Y, and Z over Geno. I think, okay, like there's logic there to that. At this point, I disagree. And maybe we would have thought differently if we got Darnold. Maybe we'd be diving into Darnold and being like, hey, those last 2 games in the season wasn't his fault. The defense, the defensive coordinator just had him figured out, or, we might have done the same thing.
Well, it's pretty easy. They just stop running the ball. You stop running the ball, you can become predictable. I think any quarterback out there is going to have a rougher time. And then you lose your left tackle and you have a guy coming in there that's not your normal left tackle that you trade for, and you're going to have problems. And you just went up against 2 really good defensive fronts those last 2 games. Detroit had a good defensive front, and the Rams had an excellent defensive front. So it was like a storm of things. But, I understand what you're saying. Yeah, there's an argument to be made either way. But I think if you look at it from Pete Carroll's perspective, you don't have the 6-year difference in age. It doesn't matter to Pete Carroll. He's not going to be around for 6 years anyway.
Yeah. Right.
He wants a guy right now to set his culture, which Geno Smith has already been in his culture. He knows what to do. He trusts Geno Smith, and he trusts him to not only be the leader that he needs, but also the quarterback that he needs. So there's really, with all that, I don't think we could have done better.
And maybe that's all part of the scheme anyway, right? Like, we're going with an older quarterback. What's it matter? We're going to draft one here anyway, right?
Yeah, if not this year, next year.
The whole Tom Brady wants shedeur, like that. I don't know how much of that is just lying season, whatever. It's been going wrong for about over a year, right? Before like draft season or anything. It's like, Tom Brady and shedeur, like they're really tight. Maybe that was the plan all along. So like, get a 20-year-old quarterback, 40-year-old quarterback. I don't care. I'm drafting my guy anyway. I'm Tom fucking Brady. I want shedeur. We'll see.
Shedeur.
We'll see. We shall see. All I know is the deeper and deeper I dive into this Geno contract, the better and better and better it gets. Like the next time I look at it, it's going to be like, free blowjobs from Raiders cheerleaders for all Raiders YouTubers. And that's going to be like the next line we don't even know about,
The fine print, but it's from the dudes. Like, wait a second.
So with that, that's so sweet. Well, I don't think it's way too outlandish to assume Geno Smith will be our QB1 next season. I think we can, You know what they say about assume? It makes an ass out of you and me, but I'm willing to go out on that crazy limb and assume that no matter who is drafted, no matter how well Aiden O'Connell plays this this preseason, it's going to be Geno Smith as their starting quarterback. So we're starting to get an idea of what our offense will look like. And we won't know for sure till after the draft, till the training camp and all that stuff. But a little reckless hypothesis at this stage of the career, I think, is worth it. We know our quarterback. We know our offensive coordinator. We know our head coach. We know our number one weapon. It's going to be Brock Bowers. We know I still don't know if Jacoby will be our X or not, but he's currently the best wide receiver. He's currently the best wide receiver on the roster. And you got a speedster in Trey Tucker, and you've got a really good left tackle. You've got a surging right tackle, and you've got a second-year, potential 10-year Pro Bowler in Jackson Powers Johnson at center, and two guards that I'm very disappointed that aren't going to be much. And then right this second, a running back room that still leaves us wanting. So with all these pieces, Soto, what do you envision the offense looking like next season?
I think the offense looks a lot different than it does right now.
Mm-hmm.
I think they need to put a lot of those spots in pencil, very light pencil. Because
even number 2, a 1.5.
1.5, yeah, one of those mechanical ones that the lead always breaks because it's so thin. We're gonna have look. I like Trey Tucker too, but when you dive into his numbers, he's not a very good wide receiver as far as creating separation, yards after catch percentage. He was the worst in routes run per target in the NFL. He ran over 660 routes. He had like 81 targets.
Mm-hmm.
That's abysmal.
Yeah.
Because he just didn't get open. He didn't create separation. And when he did catch the ball, he didn't run after the catch. It's like, how much separation, how well are you making yourself a target to catch the ball? And when you do get the ball, what do you do after you catch it? He was terrible at both.
Yeah.
So I hope that he can progress, but as far as being like he's almost like a fair catch guy. You just throw it down there, he catches it and drops it. He drops, and like right there, you get the ball. There's no run after catch ability with him whatsoever, or hasn't shown any. So we definitely need upgrades. The guys that are saying, "Oh, we have Trey," dude, you don't know what you're talking about.
Well, I'm glad.
I'm not saying I know everything, but no, we need more at the receiver spot.
Well, that is 1,000% true. And I'm not saying we lean on Trey Tucker by any. I'm not saying like, well, we have Trey Tucker, we don't need to worry about it. That's not at all what I'm saying. But I am saying, kind of similar to like everything on the offense last season with Luke Getsy, 2 quarterbacks that aren't known for their deep ball, just atrocious setup. Trey Tucker also didn't give himself any. He didn't do himself any favors, and also wasn't given very many favors. I feel like again with Luke Getsy, it's like, here's my system, here's what I know, do it. Whereas Chip is very flexible. Trey has some very usable skill sets. The guy can fly, right? And I feel like Chip is going to be better at isolating and maximizing what Trey Tucker can do. Again, I'm not saying he's going to be our QB1 or wide receiver 1 or a starter or 1,000-yard, nothing like that. But I think he was underutilized with what he did well.
Yes.
And I think Chip could maximize what he does well, as opposed to just Getsy, just like, yeah, go out there and run fast and do this shit. So I'm with you there.
I agree. No, the one thing is you can't bank on Trey Tucker being so much better than he was just because you feel that he is going to. You do need to upgrade at the position.
All you can bank on is that he's got the speed to clear out lanes. Like that is we can count on that max. That's the maximum we can like say he can do that. Anything more, it's going to be Chip working with him, trying to get him to do it. And Geno too. Geno's got a fucking rocket, man. Like, you can find those windows.
A really good arm, dude. I didn't realize how good of an arm he had.
Yeah.
And I look at some of his. Oh, all right. He's bigger than I think he was too. He's a big dude.
Mm-hmm.
He can get out there, and he doesn't have a lot of wear on his body. He's pretty much 6-7 years of not getting hit.
I wonder how much Chip's going to have Geno run. How much RPO are we going to do? How much of that plays off?
It would be irresponsible not to.
Well, how much is the question, right?
Yeah.
Is it how much do you risk Geno's? Is it how much do you risk Geno in that situation? Right, it'll be 35 this season, and he's had really good injury luck. Like all the years in Seattle, didn't miss one game. I don't think he missed a snap. Maybe don't quote me on that, but he didn't miss a game. For a running quarterback in his mid-30s, pretty goddamn durable, right? Let's put that to work.
He's mid-30s in number only. Like I said, he's pretty much Sam Darnold's age as far as football, like
wear and tear
wise.
Yeah, all those years on the bench. The run game, and I said this when we got Chip, I'm like, I can't guarantee it's gonna be awesome or like way better, but I can't guarantee it's gonna be fun as shit. Like it's gonna be fun. Like there's gonna be a lot of moving around. There's going to be a lot of misdirection, a lot of like, I didn't know you can mix those three schemes together. That's awesome. And then he'll take what you just saw that was awesome, and then 3 games later, add the 4th on top of it and keep developing it in a way you've never seen it before. That's awesome. I think Raheem Mostert is exactly the kind of guy that can do that. If we added just a really good running back in the draft, I almost like our running. Now that's right. It's like, oh yeah, everyone just wants like a stud running back. Like, okay, duh, RJ. But if you do that, I like Zamir as a short yardage guy. I like Sincere McCormick as, if he gets healthy, I think he overplays his contract and his position. And Mostert can do almost anything, right? A little older, but he can, even 80% of his prime is still he can do anything. That running back room.
He's a low 4.3 40 guy coming out of college. If he lost a step, what is he, a 4.4 running back now?
Yeah, like catch the ball, right? Like,
look,
this
Chip Kelly knows how to get players in space, and that's what Mike McDaniel did really well with Raheem Mostert 2 years ago. Was he got him the ball in space, and more so in the receiving game than anything, to be able to get him to put pressure on the second level and third level of the defense. And he was just fast enough to be able to outrun him. That's why he scored so many touchdowns. He wasn't all rushing touchdowns. He had a lot of receiving touchdowns.
Mm-hmm. And then the offense is going to run through Brock Bowers. And if it doesn't, we riot. Brock everywhere. Line him up as tight end, put him as a wing, line him up outside, put him in the backfield, have him wildcat it. I don't care. Have him line up as center and do something weird, right? Have him do a handstand in the backfield and then go from there. Like Chip Kelly dreaming up shit to do with Brock Bowers has got to be just smiling in front of his monitor, just giggling like a school.
Talking about football stuff.
Use your imagination. Whatever he wants.
All the above.
Get weird with it. Brock is such a soldier. He wouldn't care.
Hey, Chip, coach, what are you doing? Those are my pants.
I'm the coach, Brock. This makes you better at football. Okay, whatever you say. There we go.
Is this called the Sandusky? I wanted to get a freaking reference that had a lot of S's in it, and just so happened that Sandusky has quite a few.
Worked out perfectly. Thank you, Sandusky. Contributing to the autumn windbags more and more and more. And then O-line. If there's one weakness with Chip Kelly's schemes, it's his pass protection, because he's always just like, I just want all 5 guys out there doing all their cool shit. And then all this misdirection, reverse, lateral, all this shit, that just takes time. And the more time that's happening, that means the longer you have to hold your blocks. So this is hopefully Chip is aware of that, because unless this line gets these guards specifically, unless we drastically upgrade these guards, there's going to be two liabilities in the center of that O-line. I know Spytek's so high on Kappa. It's crazy. The way we're talking about Chip Kelly, jerking off to Brock Bowers, that's Spytek with Alex Kappa. He thinks he's the world of him. But that would be, at least stylistically right this second, my chief concern. Is the line trying to maintain all the cool shit Chip Kelly wants to do.
Yeah, I mean, I don't. It is a concern of mine. I don't know that it's even the top three for me. It is one,
It's my number
but
one
it's no corner.
because it leads into everything. Oh, I meant offense.
Offensively,
When we're talking offense,
it's my third one. Receiver, we need another receiver desperately. Running back, Raheem Mostert has shown you that if you give him the workload of a workload like a what do they call it, a workhorse back, he's going to get hurt.
Yeah,
it doesn't matter what team he's on. If you give him too many touches, he's going to get hurt. So you need to have another bell cow back and have Raheem Mostert be not just a third down guy, but like more of a change of pace type of guy that can receive the ball out of the backfield more. Because if you give him too much of a workload, he's 100% going to get hurt. He's shown it every single season. He's gotten hurt. So those two, because I don't think that the offensive line is terrible the way it is constructed now. It's definitely not as good as it can be, or as good as we want it to be. But definitely, our running back room is not as good as we need it. We need it to be, and our receiving core is not as good as we need it to be for sure.
And if your O line is Swiss cheese, it doesn't matter who your X's are running back.
And again, you're assuming that they're going to be Swiss cheese. They're not Swiss cheese.
Kappa and Parnam aren't good, and especially and Chip Kelly's system demands.
That's where we differ.
Chip Kelly's system demands a lot of their O line.
Are they great? No, they're not great, but they're not bad.
They're below average.
They're about average. I would say they're about average.
And in a Chip system where he demands you to stretch and be better, they're going to look even worse.
Well, that's in Parham's favor. He's more of a better on the move than he is anchoring. You know, that's not really his deal. That's one of the reasons why he looked so shitty against compared to Jackson Powers Johnson, because that's Jackson Powers Johnson. He's a freaking road grader. He's going to just knock everything over in his path.
Yeah.
But I mean that's just where we differ. I think that you see a lot less of the offensive line as it is now. I mean, we both agree it needs to have an upgrade, but I don't think it's terrible the way it looks right now.
And it's not like we have a awesome blocking fullback to pick up some of that slack. It's not like we have a huge primarily blocking tight end to pick up some of that slack either. You know, these five guys are going to be more or less on their own, right? Your number one tight end, he needs to be running routes, right? Or at least be a decoy. That's right. We know that about Brock. He shouldn't be just lined up next to Glaze blocking half the plays.
Dude, I saw Brock last season in the red zone, lined up at fullback, and he blocked. I'm like, what are you doing?
Mm-hmm.
Why are you putting him in there to get his freaking bell rung? Don't do that.
I like that. I wasn't against it if it's extremely sparingly, because then you put in the next defensive coordinator's mind, all right, he's in the backfield. That doesn't mean he's getting the ball. And then you run him out and do a wheel route the next time. I'm with you. Don't make that a regular thing. Don't think we need a fullback, we'll have Brock do it. Don't make that a component of the offense. Make it a cute novelty twice a season just to keep defenses honest. He might just block, but he'll probably run a wheel route or a screen or a shuffle pass to him or whatever the fuck he's thinking up that Brock can easily pull off. I want Brock doing one of every possible thing you can do on offense at least once this season. I want him in Wildcat. I want him blocking. I want him taking a bubble screen. I want him taking a pitch.
Bubble screen.
I want him running a go route from the X. I want him taking a hook and ladder. I want him doing every possible thing an offensive player in football can do at least once, just to drive defensive coordinators up the goddamn wall. How do we prep for this guy? And let's say we even prepped perfectly for him. How do we cover him? That's Brock.
Exactly.
I want him punting. I want him a couple defense. I want him to play defense a couple plays, just to throw everyone off. I want him to suit up in a cheerleading outfit for the pregame show, just to throw everybody off. Every little thing he can do. I want him calling a few games for a play or two. Freak him out. It's Brock Bowers. You ready to do some what up, Windbags?
Yes, sir. Let's do it.
Little Havana. I'm actually heading to Little Havana. Going to Miami tomorrow. Would Derek Carr be the first quarterback taken this year? Of course, coming out of Fresno State, not the Derek Carr right this very second.
No.
Who was taken ahead of him back then? I forgot.
But 2014 draft?
Yeah. 2014 NFL draft. Who was it that went ahead of him, quarterbacks wise? It's been so long, I don't even remember. Blake Bortles, number 3. Johnny Manziel, 22. Teddy Bridgewater.
God,
32.
that sucks. I feel really bad for Teddy Bridgewater, dude. He was doing really well, and that knee injury, dude. Just the fact he's able to walk around right now.
He just looks like a guy that takes bad injuries, dude. He's just so spindly, you know. And his name's Teddy, not like a
Teddy B.
Yeah,
R&B singer.
I don't know. Maybe. I mean, again, Fresno State, Mountain West, all the same reasons people weren't. He wasn't a first rounder to begin with.
Cam Ward will be the first one.
Cam should be one.
Look, Jackson Dart had around the same production, and he played in a much tougher conference. I think he would still be around.
Probably already is. Very similar draft class quarterback wise.
Yeah.
When you stop to think about it. Like it's pretty like.
I don't think they had a Cam Ward.
Similar.
I don't think they had a Cam Ward there. Cam Ward, the more I watch him, he reminds me a lot of like a little bit smaller Ben Roethlisberger. Kind of like tough to bring down, kind of like takes a lot of chances, but he's got a strong arm and he can move, but he scrambles, but he doesn't run a lot.
Johnny Manziel is kind of like it's kind of like a shedeur in terms of like, is it all hype? Is it all flash? Deion Sanders' son? Like, there's like that question, you know what I mean, brewing around. I don't think that's fair to Shedeur.
Guerrero.
I don't think that's fair to Shedeur because he hasn't really done it. It's just like his dad and everything around him that's kind of done it. But I think the way drafters view it, they can see it like that. Very similar. I never even thought about it, but yeah, kind of a similar draft class, quarterback wise. Jeremiah Rose, 4681. What's the number one issue for the Raiders? Kind of got into this. Running back, wide receiver, offensive guard, defensive tackle, linebacker, cornerback. What? Corner.
I honestly think it's running back.
I think
here's why I say running back. Okay. I have zero confidence in Sincero McCormick staying healthy because he hasn't shown that he can.
Mm-hmm.
And in Zamir White being more than just a short yardage option. And I have zero confidence in Raheem Mostert being able to stay healthy with a starting running back workload.
Mm-hmm.
And I have zero confidence in Dylan Laube to take a huge jump. People will say, oh, Dylan Laube is this. Yeah, Dylan Laube had like one play offensively and he fumbled. And with AP's job on the line, you're telling me that he would not put a guy in that's good and it can play? He wasn't able to see the field. Even with all the injuries we had at the running back position, he still couldn't see the field.
Yeah.
So I think with the injury history of these guys and everything, running back is the most shaky position.
They're both in dire. This isn't a wrong answer. I'm going to say corner only because you need like 2.5 corners at all times starting. The running back, you can have just one, right? Running back committee, only one guy. We don't have one starting corner, and we need 3. We need 2 corners and a slot, and we don't have one. So that's more why I say corner. Running back room's awful, like you mentioned. But like I said, I think one awesome running back, and I'm happy with our running back room. If we get one, let's say we get jeanty or the North Carolina guy or whatever, right? At that point, I'm happy with our running back room. We have our workhorse, our stud, our main guy, some change of pace dudes, guys that can't handle the workload, but can certainly still contribute. I still like Zeus as a short yardage back. I think he's fine there. He can contribute there as a third-year player. But we're not one good cornerback away from being okay at corner. We are 3 away.
I wouldn't say that. I think Ja'Cory Bennett played really well. I think DeCam Richardson actually played pretty well towards the end of the season. We don't really need, quote unquote, a slot corner because you have 3 different safeties who have played slot corner. Jeremy Chin's played the slot. Isaiah Polamalu's played in the slot. Who else? Who else do we get?
We don't have corners that, with the quarterbacks we're playing in this division, I don't think any of these corners are scaring anybody.
We just need a starting corner. It sucks about Asante Samuel, you know, his shoulder neck injury is the reason why he's not been signed.
Yeah.
It's not anything else. It's his injury.
Michael Avia, 99.63. They're cheap because they don't know what they want. You're talking about Spytek, Brady, Carroll, etc. Are they quote unquote cheap this offseason, this free agency period? I don't know. That's not even anything I ever thought about, Soto. Do you think they're just not sure what they want?
No.
Never even like crossed my mind.
I think that's ridiculous. I think that's absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah.
I think it's an absolute ridiculous thing to say.
Why?
Because you have a team that's all they do. You're telling me that they're going to get these guys who on the surface aren't crazy household names, but the more you look at them, the more you see how they fit into not only a Pete Carroll style defense, but what they're going to be asked to do. You see something forming and taking shape.
Mm-hmm. I'm with you, Soto. The only thing that I think could make that potentially an issue is if Spytek and Carroll are still trying to merge what they both want, right? Like Spytek knows what he wants, Carroll knows what he wants. They've been together 2 months, month and a half. Like maybe they're still just kind of like figuring out exactly what they want. But I think those are 2 individuals that for sure know what they want. Maybe they're trying to figure out, okay, how does this? What's the Venn diagram of what we both want? Where is that exactly? I can see that still being in the early periods. They've been together weeks. But that's the only, I'm with you. That's really the only way I can see them being like, ooh, I don't know. If they're still trying to figure each other out.
I think it's more so like, this is what I'm looking for in my corners. Find me this. These are the names I have. What do you think? I like these guys here. Let's target these guys. Okay, cool.
All right, that's it for us. Next week, we have our draft special. All draft, all day, baby, because obviously the draft will be after that. Should be a good time. Anything crazy happens between now and then, we'll get at you. And until then, knock on wood if you're with me. Hey, you made it to the end of our video. Great job. I know you want more. Go ahead and click the next video. And if you're feeling crazy, go ahead and subscribe.